most of these three little regulatory agencies. And you see, several areas of overlaps in the laws. So when they say, no, this is my territory, they are enabled by law. And you then see, NAFDA will chase the same thing that SON is chasing. NAKS will change the same thing. FPIS will tell you there's no, Federal Produce Inspection Service will tell you there's no reason for NAQS to exist because they are doing our jobs. So, and this, if you look at trade facilitation, the indicator of trade facilitation is when you bring down the cost and time of doing business. When you go through many regulatory agencies, one, you waste time. Two, all of them are actually revenue generators also. So you pay a lot to them. And then there are also under the table dealings that you need to deal with. So after looking at reviewing all of these laws, my recommendation was that, okay, the Bureau of Public Sector Reform should look at these reports and invite the head of those agencies to co-create solutions to how to bring down the regulatory concern for Nigerian businesses. It's a lot. Businesses are losing a lot to this waste of time, increased cost of doing business and co at that small cargo warehouse. And I know if you go to the seaport, it will be of a greater magnitude. So the people that indicated this, they are right to say regulatory concern is a problem. Thank you.
Good. Thanks a lot for that. The next question is similar, so I'll skip that because the next question was, which of these will most encourage investment in Nigeria? Same issue, regulatory framework, improved regulatory framework, and then better infrastructure, power. And I know you mentioned power is very key. How do you rate current business climate in Nigeria for investors? That was the next question. And here, I'm quite happy to see that not many people were somewhat unfavorable or very favorable. So unfavorable, very, very unfavorable was just about 30%. Majority of us are kind of in the middle. They're like, let's wait and see kind of thing is what I see, right? Neutral, 32%. Somewhat favorable, 35%. So they are there hopefully getting towards the somewhat favorable area. And with the talks that we've had today, we could see that the potential is key. And I think one important thing is power. So just to talk about power, I don't know who would want to talk about how we fix power, because I'll give you some small statistics. Nigeria currently produces 2,548 kilowatt hours per person. That's basically powering two fridges, right? Two fridges, right? Just for perspective, the United States is about 80,000. So we are at what, 2,000 per person, 2005, and US is 80,000. Places like Argentina is 17,000, but you cannot grow without power. So I think so they're pretty right in their poll. Power infrastructure is super important. I don't know who wants to take that up a bit and see the improvements that we're going to have in power over the next couple of years. Anyone want to jump in to add some perspective? Go ahead.
Mr. Alaba, I think you're muted. We can hear you. I thought you were speaking on power because you had picked it up as study.
If I can comment on power, power is everything. If you don't have power, there's nothing you can do. Imagine and I know your members of your chambers will also have experienced this. You say the cost of running on diesel. You say how it impacts the price of goods. And if it's a kind of commodity where it's not elastic in terms of demand, you run the risk of getting out of the market, because if you cannot really manipulate the price to actually cover your costs, you run out of business. And the cost of diesel to a business is probably, much more than all other costs put together. So power is an issue, and the more we move away from on-grid power to off-grid power, the better. And there should be a deliberate policy actually to encourage this. I know in South Africa, despite the fact that, they have power challenges now, despite the fact that they produce 55,000 kilowatt hour of electricity, they still encourage people to use renewable energy. And if you are using renewable energy, there is special incentive that they actually give to you to get off the grid. So there should be incentive on the part of government also to encourage people to move off grid. Like I told you, my example, I fixed a renewable energy facility inverter, and since then I've had 24 hours power, even when the power supply is getting worse. So this is a way to actually ensure that businesses are stable. There's less stress concerning access to power, and this brings down cost of production, and maximization of profit can then be ensured. Thank you.
Great, thanks. I'll go to the last question. The last question was, in your opinion, what type of support is most crucial for businesses looking to invest in the Nigerian market from foreign markets? And the answers were quite spread out evenly between logistics, legal, network opportunities, and with local business, financial, which basically means support is everywhere except for education. I think the education was a bit low, but everything else, it seems we want full support in every cadre. I don't know if John can see maybe UK companies coming into Nigeria, if there's any statistics you've seen and how easy it was for them to set up and for them to actually do good business in Nigeria. I don't know if you have any data on that.
I don't actually, to be honest with you. It's a good question, and it's something you'll send me away to look at. So I will go and do some research actually, because that's a really important point. But I do think, I mean, really in many ways, the key thing is the conversation we had earlier on, about stability from an investment point of view. Stability in currency, availability of foreign exchange. Those sorts of things, predictability. I mean, that's what investors want, whether they're investing locally or investing internationally.
Ability to plan. Very true. Yes. All right. Super. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you very much for that. And a great thank you to all for participating in the poll. I just shared on the chat to say that we would be communicating the results, and we've also listed quite a number of links in there to help us begin to tap into potential opportunities. And we are available at the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce. We do have a desk there, a trade and investment desk that will guide you and support you. We work very in collaboration with the British Deputy High Commission in Nigeria in terms of supporting businesses both within Nigeria and in the UK. And thanks to John, I'm sure there will be greater collaborations as we go along. I'm enjoying this discussion because the more we talk, the more we see the real opportunities of collaboration. And really, I think it's time as a country that as we begin to navigate the ease of doing business, we have more collaborations. The classic example of duplicacy in regulations, duplicacy in policies means that the confusion then becomes a challenge and a bottleneck effectively for investors as well as businesses in the country to move forward. We have a whole host of questions that have come through. Thanks for those who are sharing their questions. Whilst we wait for Dr. Hassan to sort of join us, we would like to take one of the questions that came from the audience, and I probably direct this question to Mr. Ghana if he's able to respond. Otherwise, we'll have a different perspective. So a question came about the Naira appreciation in the FX market. Has been a welcome development, but they would like to understand, maybe not just from the central banks. Oh, Dr. Hassan is back. Thank you very much. Not just from the perhaps from the CBN's perspective. They would like to understand whether or not these interventions are sustainable, will sustain the value of our naira against the foreign exchange. That's the question. That's one of the questions that was thrown. And perhaps bundle a few of the questions. The other one that has come through, again to Dr. Hassan, when will medium-sized enterprises expect to observe lower interest rates? That's another question that has come through. I hope you can sort of give us some direction in there. Thank you.
Okay, so let me start with the last one, because that one is still fresh in my head. Right now, like I explained earlier, we're in a tightening regime. Tightening because we think, or our analysis has shown that some of the factors that are driving inflation number that we're seeing is monetary. So, and the only way you can tame that monetary side of the inflation is by tightening. The other side of the inflation is food inflation, which you cannot, which are tightening is going to be jeopardizing the ability of food production to increase and reduce the prices of food. But the short-term measure is to tighten to mop up those liquidity within the system so that productive activities can start taking place. So as right now, we're thinking of disinflation. The projections or the forecasts are that by May, the numbers will start going down. When inflation numbers get to a particular level, rates will start to cut. The US, that had inflation of 9% by the end of last year, has now gotten to like 3% and less. And US is already saying that they are going to start cutting rates. So that's how it happens. So when this inflation comes to a tolerable level, you start cutting the rates. So I believe that will come now. But also for the SMEs, from most of the interventions that the federal government does, they have some, incentives to support them in terms of their inputs and all that. If electricity, and I had the conversation going on, says if electricity improves substantially, sometimes it's not only the finances that is even disturbing these businesses, but even the cost of doing the business. So if those improve, security improves, all that, you start seeing businesses, SMEs, and households even being able to survive in their business. So I think that will come up with time. On the sustainability of the current exchange rate regime, I think the philosophy or perspective of the bank is that we want market forces to drive the rate. If you want the demand for the market now is, our estimate is about $1 billion a day. Central bank cannot survive bringing in 1 billion. It's just our reserve is 34 billion. So that means we can only do it for 1 month, and then all our resources are wiped out. But the market itself can bring in 100 billion in a month when it's productive and it's good. Portfolio investors are not coming to come and put their money in Nigeria for 1 month, 2 months, or 1 year, 2 years. They are coming to play in this market. We don't have any problem with that. We also need foreign direct investment, those that will stay for longer, fine. But we also need those that will deepen the market. So we want a situation where when our policies are clear, when our objectives are well known, when the instruments in the market are efficient and people know that, yes, I can bring my money, plan myself, hedge against any losses, take my profit, I can go out with my profit, there's liquidity in the market for me to go out anytime I want, they'll bring in their funds. They are not just coming to make profit. They also know that their businesses can bring losses. So they plan their business, but they need to have that predictability to plan. So long as we moderate this volatility and the market is able to feed itself in terms of the inflows coming in and the ability to outflow, then you start to see the rate moderating. For the lower end of the markets, those that are doing for BTA, medicals, and all that, we also see some of the interventions that we're doing from the central bank. We don't intend to continue with that in perpetuity. We expect the system itself, the banks, and all the Travelex and the MoneyGrams, all that also come up with incentives, IMTOs, and all those diaspora remittances, inflows to come into that space and also be supplying that short end of the market. So hopefully we'll see all those coming into place, and so long as we're able to maintain that trust and confidence in the central bank management and system, then we'll see that sustainability going into the medium to long term.
Thank you very much, David.
No, excellent. Thanks a lot for that. And the most important thing is the theme is planning. No business can trade without planning. Probably you trade for a month and that's it. So everything just aligns, exactly what John said, exactly what Dr. Hassan has said, and also Dr. Ghana and all our guests. And yeah, so I just think that's the theme, right? We need to plan. We need to basically have structure. We need to be able to have a path to prosperity, which is excellent. Thanks a lot for sharing.
Thank you. I think we're gradually coming to the wrap up. I mean, we have 1,000,001 questions here. I think, David, if you'll agree, we'll probably post those questions on the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce website for pondering. The conversation continues. So, John, we know that you're the younger brother to Trinity House. And your other wall, you're a lay trustee of the Royal College of Speech, Language Therapy. How do you marry that with your day job?
Well, I do have to say, Anne, that I stepped. Yeah. No, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say I stepped down. I completed my second term as a lay trustee, so actually it's a little bit less than I'm doing now. But all of these things are great fun, aren't they? And I've really enjoyed this conversation today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just over to you, Mr. Ghana. We know that your minister 2 days ago hosted the new World Bank country director for Nigeria, Mr. Ndiame Diop. How was that reception from your perspective, and what change or newness do we anticipate from him? Mr. Ghana in the room? Yeah, there you go.
Hello. Thank you very much. World Bank, right from the beginning, has a very good partner for Nigeria, and we've been working very closely together. And they have a lot of things to do in Nigeria. And not only that, we have been closely working together, and they have a lot of promises that they will do for Nigeria, and we're closely following up what he has promised. And before long, you will definitely see those things, people start experiencing those things in Nigeria. But I'll assure you that we will follow up, and you will definitely see those things being experienced by Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're looking forward to greater participation and involvement from the World Bank. Fantastic. Dr. Mahmoud Hassan, yes. You currently serve as the term expert to the IMF and AfriTac too. I know you've been undertaking some trainings. We've been watching you in Washington, D.C. lately. In this capacity, perhaps you can give us one perspective from your training program as it relates to today's discussion on reimagining potentials and opportunities for trade and investment.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very good one. I think what the role I play in that short-term expert at the fund is I think they have 176 member countries of the fund. And the fund provide, the IMF, provide policy recommendations to member countries on trade and exchange rate and all that. And what we normally find is the fact that there are some intricacies in certain economies that you need to understand for some policy measures, like something working in Argentina may not necessarily work in Nigeria, not because of the cliche that we defy theory. No, we don't defy economic theory. We're still within the space of economic theory. But what's important is that there are some structural rigidities, there are some malfunctions that are peculiar, there are some cultural issues, there are some environmental issues, there are some literacy issues that you need to understand for certain policy measures to penetrate through effectively. So country experiences, it's very, very important. The UK is sharing a lot with us, doing some capacity development with us. Other economies are doing that, and they get to understand the economies more, efficiently, in the sense that the policy recommendations are more apt, optimal, and have the best outcomes. So it's country experience, cross-border experiences sharing, knowledge sharing that plays a bigger role in that space, and also the uniqueness in the data series that you have in those countries. So I think those are the kind of expertise that we bring to the table to enable other economies to understand from our own experience and apply that to the economy if it is the economies are in that stage of development. I think that's what I would say on that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that response. And finally, over to you, Dr. Alaba, just on behalf of Dr. Adeloju. Yesterday, we know that your CEO visited the Lagos Free Trade Zone to discuss opportunities that will attract investment into the Lagos Free Trade Zone. One tip or takeaway for our members following yesterday's visit from you, please.
Thank you.
I'm hoping Dr. Alaba is here.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, we know the concept of free zone is to provide environments that enables businesses to have access to the kind of infrastructure they would ordinarily not have access to in a general economy. And what I think will be the benefits to the businesses is that once you gravitate towards enjoy the benefit provided, but much more, it's not enough to provide facilities at the free zone. The ambition of the government should be to generally make facilities available to industrial zone, not only the free zones, because the concept of free zone in trade is such that it's everything you produce there should actually be meant for exports. Once you produce those things and you want to bring them into Nigeria, you have to pay duties. That's the concept of free zone. And I know you will see some items that come from abroad and they write for export only. Some people do argue that, oh, it's because they cannot consume in their country. No, it's a product of free zone. So export-minded industrialists and your members that are export-minded can actually take advantage of the free zone. And then also, I expect your members to also be a pressure group to the government, not only to concentrate on free zone because they are looking for quick wins, but to bring the industrial zones that we had in those Ilukweju and all whatnot back to their feet. And it's not rocket science, because there are donor support projects that have done that and did that successfully. The UK on their policy development facilities.
Thank you very much.
With NESG. Yeah, with NESG, we experimented with a project on power supply at the Aba Industrial Zone, where you ask everybody to forget about their generator. You created a private power pool with collaboration with Rural Electrification Board, and you meter them and you supply them 24-hour electricity. And you see the price went down drastically compared to what they would spend on diesel. And there's a lot of exports actually going on in that zone unrecorded. For instance, if you look at, for result of that, if you look at their leather clusters, they said they produce 1 million pairs of shoes per day. And mostly they are being sold outside Nigeria. People just come from Equatorial Guinea, Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa, come and just pick those things up and go back to their countries. So that offers a concrete advantage for Nigeria. Like I said, beyond the free zone, let's go back to developing our industrial zone for the benefits of all, not just some selected set of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great points. I would like to make a point which I think none of us have made. I think when it comes to trade, everybody thinks about goods, physical goods. The services are also a big part. I mean, and quite a lot of companies export services. Now, with the advent of AI, you can't have a talk without AI entering our transcript at all. So artificial intelligence and the technology around that, it's a huge shift, a massive, massive, massive shift, where AI can do quite a lot of work that ordinarily people could do. And that's going to cause some disruption, labor force disruptions, changes and stuff around labor forces. I don't know, maybe quick, short talk around AI and also services. So trade should also be not just goods, but services. Where does that sit with you right now and your offices as it sits related to Nigeria? Maybe we could start with John.
I can see both Mr. Alabas, Dr. Alabas' hand as well as
okay, please go ahead, please. Go ahead, please, sir.
Actually, what I want to chip in is that actually services sector holds a significant opportunities for Nigeria, and not only Nigeria, across the world, because there's actually no trade without services. Services is the oil that actually is the engine oil that actually lubricates the trade itself. And if you look at our GDP, services is more than 55% of the GDP, which means that the services hold very great potential. And like you have said, the artificial intelligence, although some people might argue that, oh, it will take job from us and co. And some people said, look, if you are not intelligent, actually, you don't have to fear artificial intelligence. So, so artificial intelligence actually is more likely to provide more opportunities than, displacing people from jobs. Although there will be disruption, but there's always new opportunities. The only thing we need to do is to empower and position ourselves for these opportunities, and then mainstream ourselves into the global AI markets. And we have quite a number of brilliant young people in Nigeria. We have a lot of startups that are actually connected to top financial facilities in the world. So we should not fear anything. AI has come to stay. We should key into it, and we should make Nigeria great, and attract investment, attract flow of forex into Nigeria. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for that. I know that about 64% of trade between the UK and the Nigerian services and related to services. I don't know, John, if you have policies around services generally and AI, because such a big topic these days.
Well, no, there's not much I could add to Dr. Alaba's what he's just said. Really, I agree with you. It's a huge opportunity area. I think one thing I would say, and I'm old enough to have lived through lots of technology changes, they all create new opportunities, things that you don't expect and you don't anticipate. And I'm sure AI is going to be the same. I ran a data business for a while, and the power of machine learning was one thing, and that really transformed our business. And I think AI just holds a huge amount of promise. And I think one of the great things about services and things like tech, software, those sorts of things, is they're easier to export. They're easier to get across borders. They allow you perhaps to get around some of the other sort of logistical and sort of structural issues we've talked about earlier on today.
Super stuff. Thank you. Mr. Alaba, I think, sorry, I don't think Mr. Ghana. Mr. Ghana, are you here? You could just contribute.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We must bring this to an end. I'm sure we could go on this discuss for another couple of hours. We're very grateful for the participants who have patiently stayed on and listened. Can I actually invite all of our panelists to switch their cameras on, please? Just for a minute. We would, I think it's important that everyone sees all of us. Yes. Okay, Mr. Ghana, we wait for you. Right. I hope we have everyone in the room alive now.
DG, if
Okay.
you can share.
Sorry?
I was hoping DG can share as well. Sorry, okay, Mr. Ghana can share. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Ghana, we're waiting for your to just see you on the video camera. And we really would like to take a photo up of this session, if you don't mind. While we're doing that, we will be getting Mrs. Olashope ready to please come up stage
Able to
for the
access camera.
It doesn't look like his camera is coming on. Okay,
Technology.
Dr. Ebere, yeah, technology. Let's make do with what we have, Dr. Ebere, please.
My camera said it cannot. I don't know why my device is not coming up camera.
Sorry,
no worries. Okay, that's fine.
It's difficult for me to on my camera. Yeah.
That's fine, sir. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. We know you were fully present we know you were present and you fully represented the minister. So thank you very much for that. My personal thank you, and on behalf of David, a great thank you to everyone who's been listening. Thank you to our panelists. I'm sure coming away from today, it's been a very insightful, informative, and interactive session that we've had on our theme, reimagining potential and opportunities for trade and investment in Nigeria. We talked about everything from the ease of and cost of doing business right through to AI. We talked about our monetary policies, economic policies, and really some of the opportunities that lie between. So we're very grateful to you for joining us. I'll hand over to Mrs. Olashope for the formal vote of thanks.
Very much, Ms. Renu, and good morning, everyone. We're still in the morning. On behalf of the chamber, I would like to say a very big thank you to all our panelists, Mr. John Humphrey from His Majesty's Trade Commissioner for Africa. Thank you very much. Our Honorable Minister for Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite, who was ably represented by Dr. Ghana during this session. Dr. Mahmoud Hassan, Director and from CBN. Thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Tayo Aduluju, the NESG DG, who was also very ably represented by Dr. Alaba today. I want to say a huge thank you also to our moderators, Ms. Anne Renu and Mr. David Brown. Thank you very much for, moderating this very engaging event and session. So just for quick housekeeping, before I go to that, I'd also like to thank all our patrons, Expo Council, of course, our president who is right here with us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. The Advocacy Committee, of which I'm a member, and which Ms. Renu heads and she chairs. The NBCC headquarters, which Dr. Ebere Njoku leads, and also all the participants, all members, and everybody present today. Without you, we couldn't have had a very interactive session. Thank you very much. So now moving on to important upcoming events. We're just going very quickly because we're kind of short of time. There is a new initiative, not-for-profit of the chamber, which is called the NBCC Women and Youth Entrepreneurship Development Initiative. There's a formal launch happening on Wednesday, the 10th of May at 10 a.m. But classes have commenced from the information I have from yesterday, the 23rd at 9 a.m. Dr. Njoku could confirm if that's the case. Other important events are the trade mission for 2024 to the UK, specifically London, and it's scheduled to hold from Monday, the 24th of June to Friday, the 28th. If you're interested, slots are still open. Kindly contact the HQ or the trade desk. Please share the information if there are any contact details. I can see this is being projected on the screen. So please still join, slots are still open. Also, just to let you know that the plaza, the Chambers Plaza is open for business. You can have your seminars, events, host, different, networking events. It's state of the art and very competitively priced. Please contact the HQ for more information. In the event that there are people here that are not members of the chamber and would like to join, also kindly contact the HQ for more information on how this can be made possible. Finally, we would like you to follow us on our social media platforms, as you can see on the screen: Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. You can see the numbers also that we can be reached on WhatsApp. Thank you very much once again, and enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. I will hand over to Dr. Njoku for the final housekeeping. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yetunde, for that vote of thanks. There's not much more to say, but a wonderful and a big thank you to all our guest speakers. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. President, for chairing the occasion. And thank you so much, our moderators, Ms. Rinu and Mr. Brown, for your expertise today. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Good afternoon.